I would like to share with you some thoughts on the adoption of AI in the education sector. Why this is the right time and why is it important to adopt it right now? In India, we are faced with four major challenges to education. The challenge of numbers, the challenge of access, the challenge of relevance, and the challenge of costs. For addressing all these four challenges, it is various applications of AI that come to our help. Scalability to address the challenge of numbers is possible with digital, which is a reality today, with even the national budget not being printed on paper for the first time. Latest data from the Economic Survey of India also shows that the smartphone penetration in the rural area is continuously increasing. Once its utility for education is appreciated, these numbers will grow even larger. Low cost and good data packages to boost access, coupled with AI-powered apps of speech-to-text, text-to-speech, and automated machine translation, improve access by orders of magnitude. The rollout of 5G in the coming years will also help increase access. So as far as the challenge of relevance is concerned, there is no debate anymore that AI is among the most important and relevant skill of today. And as you see, lots of jobs will be displaced by AI, but lots of new things will come up with AI. In fact, almost every field of economic work today will have AI associated with it. So it will be AI in healthcare, AI in agriculture, AI in marketing, AI in operations, and so on and so forth. So therefore, being educated about AI, being educated with AI, being educated with the opportunities in AI, all these are extremely important, and therefore I think this is the most relevant thing that will happen today. 5 years from now, maybe you will also have to become accomplished in quantum computing and knowing quantum machine learning and so on and so forth. But this is the right direction to follow. So it is the relevance very high, access increase, opportunities for a lot more, and as I will say, also reduced costs. So this is like the kind of, silver bullet for whatever our needs were. In a multilingual country like India, automatic machine translation allows learners with fluency in one language to learn from an instructor who is speaking in another language. Even collaboration amongst learners with different linguistic backgrounds will become feasible. This totally transforms the issue of access, because today one of the factors limiting access was the language. Now, if you knew only one language, you were fluent in a certain language, to get education from another language or learn from a lecture or a talk or a video or even a TED talk was a big challenging. Today, you have the possibility of the script of that being done. So automatically, as a video plays, as a talk is being done, you get the script of that talk. So we are all aware that the cost of education, especially good quality education, is rising, and therefore a large number of potential beneficiaries are left out. The AI and educational technologies will promote inclusive education at modest costs, thus providing lifelong learning opportunities to large numbers. So even if you can't get into that at the right time and you could not make it through the entrance exam, you can come back as part of a lifelong learning journey in this. In all this, the educators have a primary role. So in the famous 2018 book by Anthony Seldon on the fourth education revolution, he points out that this change, the fourth education revolution, will be really brought upon by educators taking the lead. And that is why it is important for educators to be informed about artificial intelligence, to know about artificial intelligence, and also to be able to learn, to be able to do things. So for example, we believe that every teacher should have a chatbot of its own. and they should be able to learn how to create a chatbot which can serve their purposes. And there are many emerging technologies, recommendation engines, predictor algorithms, all these things that we talked about. And it is very important for teachers to become familiar with this, and then they will become much more powerful, more effective, and more significant teachers. So, all the best and thank you. But you have yourself said something, so I want to begin with that. So we'll cut to quantum. See, you had taken the leadership in trying to bring AI to the school education sector from that Bangalore conference. So it is much before CBSE even thought of doing any of these things and so on. And today you have shown us Smartail, who's talking about doing an AI solution in a very particular context. And I think this is really amazing. And because I think when we're talking quantum here, I think nobody else in India is talking quantum right now.
Absolutely.
The only one who's saying is the Prime Minister, who said that we need a quantum jump in the economy and we need a quantum jump in so many places. But because you introduced the Smartail, I want to first say something about the importance of what they're doing. Not the implementation, but the importance. It's very interesting. When you look at AI solutions, people will always compare it with, is it approaching human ability at all or not? So, and you would have seen that when you do machine translation, people make so much fun of the translation made by the machine. You do many other machine things, your standard is it as good as human? But interestingly, the problem which this Smartail has taken is something where humans are very bad. Now, the fact of the matter is that essay type assessment, we all know in education, is completely unreliable, completely whimsical. And those of you who have been involved know you give the same script to two people, you get completely different grades out of them. The accuracy, consistency is very low. And that's why so much scrutiny and repetition and so on happens. Now, since this has been my field for a long time, there was a very early book on educational measurements and assessments. I'm forgetting the name of the author, but it was the book of those times. I'm talking 1970s, 80s. There he had talked about an experiment which they did, which is a very interesting experiment. Something which is fairly common. They gave the same answer scripts to a number of examiners and found wide variation in the grade that was given. Somebody is giving 40, somebody is giving 80, somebody is giving 90. There's a wide variation even in subjects like maths and science. Forget descriptive subjects. So he says one conclusion is examiners do not agree with each other. But then they played another mischief. They gave the same answer book to the same examiner 3 months later. And he gave a completely different score. Research examiners don't agree with themselves also, because the same answer book given 3 months. And we all know it depends upon the mood of the person, whether he's happy, comfortable, irritated, at a quarrel, whatever. And therefore, any attempt at AI is very valuable because it will give greater confidence in the results. Today, people's destiny are changed by 1 mark score. 649 will get something, 648 will not. But when the accuracy of the process itself is completely unreliable, it is a very different. So it's not only about time saving. The other reason why this field is very interesting and important is that this is a field where it is examiners who will have to get into the development process, because training the model has to be done by human examiners and how they grade. So basically they will be given large number of sample things and they will be asked to grade, etc., etc. And then the automatic grading model will come up. So it's a very interesting thing. And when we compare, we should compare it with the error rate of humans and not assume that because a human has done it, it is so much better and so on. So anyway, thank you very much for organizing and keeping up the leadership. My best wishes that you continue to have a leadership